So what are your thoughts about kids going back to school? You're in Texas. You're kind of on the front lines there of what's happening out there. Schools opening up in Texas, yes or no?
Yes, they are opening up. The governor said so yesterday. And, of course, with a blended instructional piece where if kids want to stay home, well, if their parents want them to stay home, then they can do so. We definitely are ready for kids to come back. I'm an acting superintendent, and that's been the big discussion, of course, for weeks. How are we going to have these kids come back? And so we're looking at different models. Some of the models include having the elementary come every day, then having secondary come twice a week, or not at all, depending on the age, so that we can have enough room, because we still have the issue of the space. And so if we're to put kids 6 feet apart in classrooms that are normally less than 800 square feet large, then that's 11 to 15 kids per classroom. Most of us have 22 to 25 kids per classroom, and that's going to be an issue.
You know, I was just sharing this study from Canada, came out yesterday, I believe. Big study. Said that kids basically are not at risk, and that wearing masks is a terrible idea for children. The number of people that are infected under the age of 18 that have any severe impact from the illness is minuscule. And these studies continue to come out. Is it not more important to have kids back in the classroom and stop fooling around with what we're doing, I suppose? Or are you gonna mandate that we wear these masks and the kids are 6 feet apart and they go to school one day but not the next? It sounds like a lot of hodgepodge that is not necessarily beneficial to the students, to the kids.
Well, we're being pulled this way and that by CDC, by the different county health departments. We're trying to do what they want us to do while still holding school, because what's happening right now is that we have bigger gaps. You, I'm sure, know that during the summer when kids are home for 2.5 months, they lose academic ground. And so imagine the ground that has been lost, even with the attempt at distance learning, from kids being out since the 3rd week of March till the end of July. And so we have huge gaps that we're having to contend with in the fall. And so we know that the best place for them is in school.
Absolutely, and not in some 2 days a week and 2 days home and 1 day. That's nonsense to me, especially when I can read the studies. You know, and if parents aren't sending their kids to school, it makes me think we should send them back and so they can learn to read like the rest of us. It's just a thought. You're an educator. Apparently the parents can't read if they're scared that their kids are going to get sick from COVID, which they're not. They're not.
Well, there's some thought that the kids could be carriers. You know, they're bringing the COVID from home and infecting, especially some of the adults in the building, right? And so there's no evidence, but
there's no evidence of that. I mean, there's almost no evidence of that. And like I said, 22 countries in Europe sent the kids back more than a month ago now. There's been no spike in cases. There's been no increase in cases. Some wear masks, some don't. The point is, kids should be in school. Europe has proved it. Why are we resisting?
Well, again, you have well-meaning people in CDC and health departments and so forth who are looking at the spikes, because we are having some spikes as we open up, and trying to play that out in school. What would that look like as far as school is concerned? So right now, we still have the edict that we can't have 22, 25 kids in a classroom. And so if we have to spread them out, somebody's got to stay home so we have enough room for the little ones.
Yeah.
Until those,
it's frankly outrageous. Yeah, it's outrageous. The fact of the matter is, I can see study after study, and good intentions paved the road to hell, from what I remember as a child. And so the good intentions of the CDC and anybody else or our local health officials meaningless. What means something are reports like the one I have in my hand from people who have done in-depth studies in Canada, done studies in Europe now, South Korea, and other places. The fact of the matter is, this is an illness, unfortunately, that focuses on the elderly, not the young among us, and we're inflicting problems with depression, loneliness, drug abuse, suicide, all predictable, says the study from Canada. These are all predictable outcomes. Suicide, by isolating children over and over again for a disease they're almost certainly never going to be affected by.
Well, we are seeing that. We're seeing spikes in social emotional learning and so forth. There's no question that we need to get the kids back in school, because they are missing their friends. And school is about, being social, learning to be social and all that. So you're right. They do need to be back in school. But until the edicts change from above, we have to plan a different way of school.
Can a superintendent like yourself, Dr. Rebecca Good here from Texas today, an acting superintendent at the moment, can't the superintendent of the different districts say, here's what I plan to do in my district?
Oh, certainly, yes.
Well, then you have the control, don't you, to make those decisions in your district?
As long as it follows what the CDC at this time has said we need to do. And it's those spatial requirements that are causing conundrums with superintendents, because when we're told that we have to have a little bubble of 7 by 6 feet around each child in a classroom, most classrooms will only allow about 11 kids per adult.
All right.
And then
it's unfortunate.
One adult.
I didn't realize that a superintendent was beholden to the CDC. I didn't realize that was the chain of command. But I'm out of time. I'd like to have you back. I appreciate you being here. It's very enlightening for people listening to have an idea of what's being directed to people like yourself in positions of administration in the local school district. So thank you very much for being here, Doctor. I greatly appreciate it. There you have it, Dr. Rebecca Good, being told what she's allowed to do and not do by the CDC.